In this video, we're going to talk about featuring the fullback in the T formation. Now, in 2019, when I was a head coach, we were a gun wing T team. We ran a lot of rocket sweep, powers, things like that. So we were focused more on the gun. We did have a heavy package that was a full house T formation we used for short yardage situations. And so what we found going into the season is that we were having some trouble executing. We had, and the big thing is that we had a lot of our skill guys had gotten injured, some of our key skill guys. And so we kind of felt that going to our heavy T formation full time was a good way to go for us. For one, because it allowed us to share the ball with between the skill positions, because we didn't feel like we had one guy that we wanted to give the ball 30 times a game, but we wanted to split the carries and use some misdirection. And it also helped with the coaching, because now with the coaching and the T formation, we just went offensive line and backfield, and it just help us simplify the coaching a little bit. And so we had some success with the T formation. We ended up having a lot of success with our dives to our halfbacks and our powers to our halfbacks. Didn't really use the fullback very much in that. And so when some of our skill people started coming back, particularly one of our leading rushers came back off of injury, we didn't want to scrap what we'd been doing. We'd been having some success, and we didn't want to take the halfbacks out, because they were averaging, or they had, each of them had 100-yard rushing in a game. So what we decided to do is put that guy returning back, our big athlete, our best rusher, we put him at the fullback position. And the rationale is that he could hit a home run on trap. If we popped him on trap, he had the speed to take it to the house. So he was very dangerous, and it kind of gave us helped make our other stuff better. But we didn't just want to use him only on trap. We wanted to feature him in the offense when we wanted to. And so we put in a couple other plays to help feature the fullback in the T formation. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So we had a play for each gap for our fullback. And really what this allowed us to do is instead of him, we weren't looking for a bruiser that you would typically think of as fullback. We wanted like an eye tailback, or a guy that you wanted to get the ball. Because in the T formation, these plays can be run either way so you could get the ball to your fullback either side of the formation, and in any gap you wanted. So you could really have a comprehensive running game with your fullback, just your fullback. Um, and so we had a play for each gap. We had trap for the A gap, B gap was ISO, C gap was lead, and our D gap was sweep. And so we're going to go through each of these plays, show you some diagrams and some films. This might be something that you could add as your own goal line package, is just this as a goal line package, because you do have a play for each gap. Plays are fairly simple. They don't take a lot of time to learn. And so it could be a standalone goal line package, or if you are a power T coach looking to get your fullback more involved, these are some things that you could probably do to do that. So let's go ahead and start with trap. All right, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on trap, because most power T teams know how to run trap. And so I'm not going to, they probably run it better than I do. So we're not going to spend a ton of time trying to go through every tiny thing. I do want to take some time to just highlight some things I feel are successful, have been successful for us. But yeah, I'm not looking to reinvent the wheel here. So real quickly, let's look through the assignments from the backside. We'll talk about the blocking first. So your tight end here, he's just going to knock the safety down. Our tackle is going to go B gap and up. That means if there's anybody in the B gap, he's going to cut him. If not, he's going to look and get downfield to the linebacker. Center's going to, backside guard's going to pull and trap the first thing past the A gap. First defender past the A gap. So we don't trap an A gap player. We make a call for that, and then we'll trap wider if we need to. So if we have a guy in the A gap, we'll wash him down. And the first thing past the A gap then would be the end. But right here we have him in a 3 technique, so he's going to trap him. Our center and tackle, we do make a call with these guys, and basically it's determined who blocks this backside tackle. Particularly, that way we don't have to check at the line. We do check at the line, but we don't have to. That way, if we have it called against like a 1 and a 3, so a 1 play side or a 2-eye, whatever you want to call it, and a 3 backside, then we don't have to check the play. We can still run the play. So what we do is we make a you-me call between the center and the tackle, and it just basically the center makes it, and he's just telling him if he's going to block the defense lineman or not. So right here, since the center's got the backside A gap and the tackle is in the A gap, he's going to make a me call. So that tells the tackle he can go on downfield. If we had a backside 3 technique, then he would make a UUU call. The tackle would cut him, and the center would go on downfield. Because it's very hard for this center to go all the way back to a 3 technique. So we just make that U-me call. Play side tackle is going to get the first inside backer, or first backer inside is how we say it. He's going to go, and the coaching point we have for this is that his aim point, I drew it a little bit off here. It's hard when you're drawing trap against a static front like this because they're going to be moving. But he wants to go heel depth of the defensive lineman and then climb to the backer. Heel depth and climb. Now this backer, if he's a good backer, should be filling right here. So if he's going heel depth, he's going to meet him right here. And then your back can make a cut. And we'll talk about the back's cut a little bit later. Then your tight end is just going to go down and knock the safety down. So backfield action. Again, this is like a typical Michigan power T backfield action. I'm not reinventing the wheel here, but our halfback's going to take a step up and out, kick out, just like you would on power. Okay, our backside halfback's going to fake power. Our fullback, okay, is going to take a step with his right foot here, since we're running trap to the right. So his play side foot, and he's going to take a step across right here. So just opposite. He wants to keep it real tight to the quarterback. So really aiming for about the center's backside cheek here. And then go straight down the midline to get the ball. So here and straight down the midline. So the reason we do that is because his first step will be with this foot. His second step can be with his left foot here and cut this way. Now, this is drawn a little bit wide because, again, I'm dealing with a static defense. But this fullback is going to go straight down the midline. He wants to keep it as vertical as possible. He wants to cut right off this block by the tackle. Right off it. I say, tell him cloth to cloth. That means we don't want any space between that, and get vertical as much as possible. And I found when the fullbacks keep it vertical, they tend to score and make it a big play, as opposed to trying to get it this way where they get run down by the safety. If they keep it vertical, make one move on the safety and he's gone. And so the quarterback's going to open up. He's going to step with his left foot, 6 o'clock, hand to the fullback, fake the halfback, and then fake keep off the edge. So that's how we run trap. And this is a primary play that most power T teams run. So it's a few clips of it. Okay, in this first clip, we're going to be unbalanced in both of these clips. So we're unbalanced here. We're going to send some motion with it just for some window dressing, but the backfield action between the fullback and the halfback is still the same, and the quarterback's supposed to keep it off the edge. We have a guy in the play side A gap, so we're going to make a call here. We're going to wash him down and we're kick the next man. So you'll see how we do that. There we go. All right. So there's a trap. We keep it vertical, and we get a touchdown there. All right, we're going to watch another clip here. And I think in this next clip, the fullback does a better job of keeping it vertical here. All right, so in this clip, we're going to run the same thing, same motion. What we're trying to do is get the defense leaning this way. We do run rocket sweep out of this, so they start running a lot with that motion, and then our trap is kind of like our counterback the other way, really, is what we're trying to do. And fullback does a nice job of keeping it vertical here. So motion to the trap and keeping it vertical there. See how he just kept it right down the midline there, and he gets in for a touchdown there. So that's our trap play. So the next play that we do our B gap play. There we go. Our B gap play is ISO. And ISO is a very simple play to add. If you're a power T team or just a T formation team, this is an easy play to add. It's not very hard to teach. And the great thing about it is whatever the front they line up, and I've just drawn it against even fronts just for simplicity's sake, but it also works well against odd fronts as well. In fact, we've had a lot of success with ISO versus odd fronts. And so basically the backside, center and backside is going to scoop play side. It's really important for this center, particularly to secure the play side A gap, because if, for instance, in this blocking scheme, we'll get more about when we would do this blocking scheme. But if this backer were to blitz A gap, the center would have to pick him up. So the center gets the play side A gap. Now our tight end play side is just going to block man on, so fairly simple. Now here's what makes the play adaptable, and here's what makes it work. Between the guard and tackle, we have an Oscar or Charlie call. depending on the front that we get. So what they're looking for, the guard and the tackle are looking for the B gap. Is the B gap open or closed? If it's open, like you see here on the right, the B gap is open. No, but we don't have a lineman in there. We're going to make an Oscar call. So Oscar open, and that means we block on. So it just means you block the man on. So right here, the man on the center. And how I define on is, can you reach out and touch him? So right now we have a man on, and then we just lead up through the hole there. Real simple. That's Oscar. So the B gap is open, we block on. If the B gap is closed, we say Charlie for cross. So it's closed, Charlie, cross block. So the tackle goes first, guard kicks out, and that's where the play hits right up in there. So regardless of what they're in, you can always run ISO regardless of the front. Very rarely are they going to have somebody in the A and the B gaps. And if they do, then you're best running another play. And it's technically kind of unsound. So, so that's our ISO play. Now, our backfield action. So our play side halfback is going to lead through the hole on the play side backer. Now, if we have a 3-backer set, such as a 3-3 stack or a 4-3, we're going to ISO the outside backer, and we're going to have the center and guard take care of the middle backer. And we do have some additional calls with that. We're just not going to get into it in the video right here. But we do have some additional calls if we need to get that middle backer and a 4-3 picked up. But yeah, we're going to always ISO. If it's a 3-backer set, it's going to be the outside backer, not the middle backer. We're going to combo to him. The backside halfback's just going to fake option. It helps to show his hands too. That draws some eyes. Fullback's going to reverse out, just hand the ball to fullback, and then get a fake off the edge. We might be able to hold some of these people out here on the play. Now, our fullback, what we want to do on this is we don't want to just slam it up in there and just run it up in there. If we want something that's going to hit fast, we'll run dive to our halfback. Our fullback, what we want to do is take one slide step, keeping his shoulder square, slide step, and go. So slide and go. And that allows us, particularly if we Charlie block it like this, that allows us to let that blocking develop before he gets the hole there. So we're going to go ahead and check that out. Okay, ISO. So what you're going to see here is we're going to make a Charlie call here because this guy actually ends up kicking down a little bit, or not Charlie, excuse me, an Oscar, because the B gap's going to be open. Now our splits need to be a little bit wider. Sometimes kids tend to get their splits a little tight as the game goes on. That tends to happen sometimes. But if the B gap is open like it is here, we're going to make an Oscar call here. So you'll see it a little bit better. We're trying to check out the line because we'd rather run to the open B gap. It's just a little bit easier to block. So we got the look we want. We're going to run the play. Slide step out of the fullback. He goes. And that's a pretty nice gain. Fairly easy play. Just hit the gap, open gap. So we're going to run it again here. And we're also going to have an Oscar call. So we're going to run it to the right here. And if you see, it's pretty clear to see we have an open B gap. Okay. So he's more outside. So we got that available. The big key with the tackle is the tackle really needs to step inside hard with his inside foot first in order to make sure this guy doesn't spike into the B gap, particularly against odd fronts. Odd front teams like to spike those tackles into the B gaps. So in order to prevent that, you need to take a hard step with your inside foot and then drive them down the field. That's kind of how we handle pinches and spikes, and we've had some success doing that. Just inside step and just drive him down the field. That'll give our back time to get through the hole. All right, here we go. This is going to be ISO right here. We're blocking on. This is an Oscar. Yep, we got him turned out. There it is. Decent little game. Not a bad play. Okay, so our C gap play is going to be lead, and I really like this play a lot because I like power a lot. So the power T guys usually run power, and a lot of people do run power. So if you're not a T formation guy and you want this as a goal line play, it's a great goal line play because it's basically power blocking without a puller, and it hits faster than power too. So I really like this play a lot, and so here's basically what we do. We're running power. We'll start with the front side first. We're running power blocking on the front side. So however you block power, you're still going to block it the same way on the front side. Now, what I drew here, we have a call that we make to change the blocking scheme on power from a double team scheme to just a flat gap blocking scheme. So the call we make just changes it to gap down backer as the rule. So that just makes it very, very simple. We don't double team, particularly on the goal line. What I found is when you're in the T formation, a lot of people just load the box, and so you're going to come off your doubles rule like really quickly for power. So you might as well just down block it anyway, and it just makes it simpler for everybody. Or teams start blitzing, it's way easier just to go ahead and just gap block it. And so basically, gap down backers the rule. It's gap, inside gap. If there's nobody in the inside gap, it'd be next down lineman. And if there's no next down lineman, you go to backside backer. So if you look here, tight end gap down backer, they got guy in his gap, he's going to wash him down. Tackle gap down backer, guy in his gap, he's washing him down. So no one in the gap for the guard, no down lineman over the center here. So he's going to go to backside linebacker. All right, now backside is a little different because there is no puller. And you can kind of change this from what I have drawn up. What I like to do is try to keep all the assignments the same. And so the same as power. So you can change these backside assignments if you want to, but for me, I just like to keep everybody's the same. The only difference is the guards because he's not pulling. So backside, I just have the center just man on, man away like you would for power. Play the backside guard, I just have him responsible for the backside B gap. And so what you can tell him, if you can double unless anybody's threatening your B gap, so he could double right here if you really wanted to. And then normally on power, we have our tackle what we call pull check, where he cut off the backside B and then hinge. Well, we have a guy with the backside B gap. You can still have him do that. That's fine. Or you can just have him block C gap. That's another option that you can do as well if you really just want to do that. I just like to keep the assignments the same between power and lead, so it's not a ton of new teaching for our offensive line. All right, so our backfield, what we're going to do is in order to get, because in power you have a block down, you have a kick out, and you have a lead. We're going to motion this halfback across, and he's going to be the kick out man, and then our play side halfback is going to be the lead. So you got block down, kick out, lead, just like power. So our backside halfback's going to motion, and the coaching point here is when he gets to the B gap, he needs to stop. If the quarterback hasn't snapped it by now, and this just saves it from having the quarterback having to time it perfectly. I mean, we all know high school kids aren't going to time things perfectly, and so we just kind of want to eliminate some of that as much as we can. So he stops in the B gap here, and then that way he doesn't overrun his kick out angle. Sometimes a tendency for kids when they first start running this play is they want to they don't chop down until about here, and then they whiff on the kick out. So we want him right here so that he can get the nice kick out block. And technique is similar for most way people teach kickouts. I teach shoulders on kickouts just because I think it's a little more violent. Shoulder, right shoulder, you're kicking out right, so you use your right shoulder, you put your head in the hole. That's how I teach it. And we want to break him in half. So we're aiming right at his hip. Break him in half. And so we're going to reverse out with quarterback, hand to the fullback. Now our play side halfback is going to do. He's going to block the first, the inside backer, play side backer. So again, if it's same thing like ISO, if it's a 3-backer set, he's going to get the nearest backer to him. So that would be the backer over the tackle. If it's a 3-backer set, in this case, it's a 2-backer set. He's going to block this play side backer right here. So fullback on this one he does hit fairly fast, and I like this, as opposed to power sometimes because this just hits a lot faster than power, because he's just aiming right for it. So he's going to open with a 45-degree step. He's going to aim for the outside hip of the tackle, and what that does is it keeps him tight to the down block off the tight end. And if he needs to widen out, he can always widen it out. But you're better off just trying to widen it out than if you go too wide and having to bend it back in. That's not usually going to work for you. You're probably going to that's not going to optimize the play. You can still hit it pretty fast if you hit this at that course right there. Quarterback going to reverse out, right at the ball to the fullback, and then accelerate off of the give and accelerate and try and draw a few eyes off of that. Now, if you get into this play, you can also run a keep off of this, but I'm not going to go into that right now. But it is a play that you can set up with your quarterback keep off the edge. But he's got to accelerate and just draw some eyes out here so that way we can take some of these guys with us. And so we're going to show you some film here. All right, the front we're getting here is like a double eagle front. It's like a 5-3 double eagle. So the C gap is open. They do shift some people around, but it doesn't really matter because we're down blocking. So it, gap down backer, so we don't get confused on the blocks here. So you can see it hits fast, it gets downfield fast. So this guy's going to walk in to the C gap, no problem. Tight end will wash him down. We'll kick this. Will be our kick out man here. So motion, get across. Boom. Not a great kick out block. Didn't have to be devastating, but you see how fast the play hit. We get downfield right now. Let's run that same play back again. Here, we'll watch it again. So just notice how fast this thing hits as compared to like a power, because he's only 5 yards deep as opposed to like a 7 yard deep power play. There's a kick out, we get through. Not a great block out of our tight end, but it's enough. So you don't have to be like overwhelming in this play. It just hits fast, and it's usually a productive play. You very rarely lose yardage on this play. So we're going to run this again. All right, this time we're going to go down near the goal line again. Okay, he's walking in. We got a C gap full. There's spike in here, so we just wash him down, no problem. Boom, there's our kick out. There's our lead. Touchdown. Really simple. So it hits fast. It's aggressive. It's same blocking as power on the front side. You just don't have any puller. So it's really nice on the goal line because, you don't always want to have a puller on the play side, particularly or on the goal line because, that it makes it harder. They could get knocked off. You could get penetration. So this plays a little bit more forgiving. So I really like this fullback lead play. We got a lot of good mileage out of that. All right, and finally, the last play, we're going to have fullback sweep. Now, of these plays, I think this play is probably the most time consuming. You just have to get the fullback to understand how this play hits. This is not a get to the sidelines play. And so you got to get your fullback to understand you want to cut it up here. And so a lot of times the kids want to just run to the sidelines like on rocket sweep or something, and that's not this play. This is an alley play. Sweep is really good after you've hit them with lead a few times. They see this motion coming at them. They're getting ready to hunker down, take on a kick out block, and then we get outside of them. It's also really good if you have an active, like this corner here starts coming up on the line of scrimmage. Now, obviously, you could throw the ball if you wanted to, but you don't have to. And that's one thing that I like when we're in the tee is we can throw the ball, but we don't have to. You're not going to force us to throw the ball. We throw when we want to, not when we have to. And so this corner is going to, if he walks up, you can still run this play as well. All right, so I think I have this drawn up on the backside wrong, but you actually just want to scoop play side. We just have everybody blocking back, but you should be scooping play side. So apologize that it's drawn up wrong here. Everybody should be scooping play side on the backside, kind of like ISO. Our play side blocking, so our guard is going to pull around and look for the play side backer. Now, if he's walking up and blitzing, he's not going to pull because the guy's right there in his guy. He's just going to block him if he comes up to blitz. So if you get a blitz, he's going to stay in and block. Okay, our tackle is on or down. So for instance, here he's going to block down here. And then same thing with the tight end, on or down. Because so right here, this is how it would look. We get these two guys just down blocked here. Now against like an odd front per se, if you had like say a tackle here and an end here, well, your tackle would have to take him by himself, and your wing, if they had like a 5-2, the wing would probably double with the tight end. Okay, so that's why I say on or down, because we really would like to get a double here with the motion man, and he's going to motion and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But we'd like to get a double between the tight end and the motion man. But the problem is here we have a guy in the gap here and here, so we got to get those gaps blocked first, so we don't get the double team here in this front that we would want. So it's on, down, block the man on you, and if there's no one on you, block down. And you just kind of have to communicate that. All right, so our halfback, our backside halfback is going to motion. Now, when he gets to the B gap here, instead of stopping, he wants to get his shoulders parallel to the line of scrimmage. So square him up, parallel line of scrimmage, and shuffle. And he's gonna shuffle to a spot about right where a wing would be, about 1 by 1 off the tight end. That's kind of where he wants to get to. Okay. And he's always going to block down. He's never going to block out. So if this guy widens with him, he's going to let him go. And we're going to come on down to the linebacker. So we always block down, never out with this wing. This motion man that ends up being a wing. Always down, never out. So that leads to our play side halfback. He's going to kick out the first thing off of the wing's block. So if this guy were to widen, that's where the kick out's going to be. If he stays tight, and he squeezes down, because we've run lead before. So if he squeezes down, then they're going to seal him, and he's going to kick out the next man that he sees. This play hits where it hits. So it could be wider here on the cut up. It could be very, very tight, like right here on the cut up. Just depends on where these guys move. That's one thing I do like about it and that's why it does take some reps, is that it moves on the fly. So it'll take some reps to figure out where the kick out is, and when the cut up is. And so the quarterback's just going to reverse out, light toss to the fullback. He can either lead up through the hole. I've had some teams where we've led up through the hole. He can also, if you'd rather, you can just have him a light toss and then just drop back like a pass set. Fullback's going to get the ball, open up laterally. Okay, so he's going to turn his shoulders. He's going to turn, face basically open up at 3 or 9. Right now it would be 3 o'clock. We got to go back here. He's got to open up at 3 o'clock, and he's going to run towards the sidelines. He's going to stick that right foot and cut it up here when he sees the kick out. So it's probably going to be about 3 steps. Depending on now, if you get the edge, it might be longer, and that's fine. So he's going to get out here. He's going to stick it and cut it up and get vertical here. So we want this to hit the alley. Where this isn't a get to the sidelines play. All right, so we'll show you some video of it. Now, we don't run it perfectly in the video. We whiff on our motion man's block, but you kind of see how we do get the edge, and it's good for when teams start squeezing the lead really hard. That you can use this as a complementary play. When they squeeze the lead, then you should be able to hit the sweep here. It's also good, again, if these corners start getting really nosy and forget to play pass, you can get them accounted for. All right, so here's the lead play, or the sweep play, excuse me. And we just got one clip of this. This is probably the best one we did. We didn't always execute it right, but it was effective for us in this game. So right now, our backside halfback's going to go in motion. You'll see motion's a little wide, so he has trouble getting this down block. He gets a piece of him. We get outside, but he kind of hangs up our guard and our play side halfback. So we go in motion here. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Now he should have blocked down. He kind of whiffed. But you notice we were outside. So we had all kinds of room to run. So it's a nice compliment to be able to, when they're squeezing your power, squeezing your lead play, this is a way to get your fullback on the outside. Again, it's designed to be more of an alley play, but because our kick out was so wide, he could kind of wait and get downfield before the kick out happened. So again, watching this again, we're going to seal him down, not really well, and then the kick out will be all the way out here. We had a tight end block down here because they like to blitz a lot, so we just had him blocked down. So we're outside here. We're on the edge with one of our best athletes. All right, so that is how you can have the fullback, featuring the fullback in the T formation offense. And again, you can put a kid here that's kind of like your eye tailback. You can put him at that fullback spot, and then you can run him in any gap on either side of the formation. And it's fairly easy. You can even check plays at the line and just simply run to the open gap. If it's A gap open, run trap. If B gap, run ISO. C gap, run lead. If they're all full, then run the fullback sweep. It's fairly simple play calling. It's a fairly simple thing that you could do, particularly if you're not really a T team or a wing T type team, more maybe a spread or something. You could use this as an under center goal line package. Very, very simple. It doesn't take a lot of time to install. I think the sweep would be the hardest thing, but we installed it in a week, and we didn't really have a ton of problems with it. We got better as we went on, but it's something that's not that hard to install. So I hope you find that helpful. If you have any questions or anything, please feel free to reach out to me on Twitter, or you can send me a message here on YouTube. That's fine as well. My Twitter handle is @CoachWeave88. And so, yeah, you can feel free to hit me up if you have any questions. I love to talk football. So I hope this is helpful for you.